There are two important ways you should incorporate flexibility into your design process. The first is probably the obvious one. When it comes to designing for web interfaces, you have to consider the flexible nature of the medium and all the various screen sizes that it can be accessed at. You must allow for expansion and contraction. A good starting point is to keep in mind the major breakpoints of a design, namely mobile, tablet/laptop, and desktop. I typically aim to consider 3 to 4 breakpoints, as these days mobile can be broken into large phones versus small phones, and then of course there's all the space between those breakpoints. You need to design in a way where things still look good regardless of what screen it's being viewed on. Concerning the broad layout, designing around a grid system with collapsing columns for smaller screens gives you a solid foundation for managing flexibility in a straightforward manner, and it works well in a lot of cases. However, in some cases, you'll need completely different approaches for the different breakpoints. This requires a bit more thought and subsequent development work. Whether this is pursued will depend on how much time is allotted to the project and whether or not you have a significant audience for a particular screen size. See my lesson on desktop and mobile first, if you haven't already, for more on this. Let's see how I'm approaching this on the Scotus Robus site. As previously discussed, my focus for the Scotus Robus site has been for larger screens. I've opted to have a simple column system where columns stack on top of each other for mobile, as a fully designed mobile site did not seem to be necessary for my use case. This may be just fine going forward, but it doesn't mean I won't reconsider a more refined mobile experience if necessary in the future. The other primary area of concern to consider is text, and in particular, user-generated text. You need to think about what various lengths of text will look like in different contexts, and in those cases, should you truncate the text, go with a smaller font on smaller screens, break the text onto multiple lines, etc. I have complete control over the text on the Scotus Robus site, but it is still something I need to consider. Let's take a look. For the most part, I'm primarily using smaller text for smaller screens and letting text fill the width and break naturally. The designs are simple enough where I don't run into too much trouble with this particular issue. Keeping these things in mind will help you keep your designs tight, more readable, and easier to use at various screen sizes. This should conjure a higher level of respect from your audience, even if it's subconscious, as a broken layout for a site gives off a feeling of unprofessionalism and laziness, even if it wasn't intentional. The second area of flexibility concerns us as designers. We must be flexible as we work alongside others, and in particular with developers, those who are building out the design. I've worked at a few agencies where there is friction between designers and developers. The less friction there is, the faster things will move and the sooner we get to launching and proving our product or whatever. Being flexible as a designer is about playing your part in lessening this friction. It's important to allow there to be a conversation, an open dialogue, and to be receptive to whatever the development team is bringing back to you as they work on implementing your design. Even if you are the developer yourself, you need to maintain a healthy inner dialogue between your designer self and your developer self. What this means is they will almost 100% of the time come back with some issues or problems that they are finding with the design. Maybe it's something that will just take them too long for the timeline. Maybe something wasn't fully considered at the design phase. Flows might be missed. Be ready to adjust. Know that you're going to miss some things. You're going to need to be designing as they are building, as things come up. Know that you might have to cut some things out, even parts of the design that you really liked. You might just have to do it so developers have time to get it launched on time. Of course, this conversation, this open dialogue, it's a two-way thing. Developers should try their best to talk with you, the designer, as quickly as possible, to get your feedback on what they've missed or overlooked in their implementation. Both sides need to be able to talk to each other and do their best to understand one another. The better you understand and listen to each other, the faster things move, and the better for everybody. Be flexible like the medium. Being flexible is not only about designing flexibility within the medium, but also about being open and receptive to developer feedback and ensuring an ongoing, healthy dialogue exists between you.